Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home. My name is Professor Youngstein Lamb, and I would like to personally welcome you all to the AAVF Institute of Higher Learning. Today we will be discussing our beautiful English language and be exploring why it is in desperate need of a spelling reform. First, let's lay out the situation we have presently. The English language in its current state is messy and unintuitive, as a result of multiple spelling conventions and systems being mixed together over time into amalgamation of brain meld. Because of this complex system, it may be hard for first or second language learners to learn to spell using English orthography. Even native speakers of English sometimes forget spellings of basic words such as acquiesce, embarrass, and conscientious, relying on autocorrect to help with these everyday tasks instead. Considering English status as one of the world's universal languages, having been adopted as a mode of international communication for many countries, the time for change is now. Of the many problems that English spelling has, let's go over a few so that I may show you why our current spelling system is not ideal for language learners and native users alike. On the left hand of the slide, we have a blue square divided into 4 equal sections. Each section contains a word with the F sound in it. Now, in the top left corner of the square, we have the word enough. The F in this word is represented by the GH digraph. On the bottom left, we have the word phonetics. This time, representing its F sound with a PH digraph. Now, acoustically, those with no knowledge of these words may not be able to tell which one uses the PH and which one uses the GH digraph. Likewise, native speakers and language learners alike may not be able to tell the difference between the GH and PH digraph based on audio cues alone, highlighting an underlying issue. Now, compare these digraphs on the left to the words on the right-hand side of the square, which represents their F sounds as a single F monograph and the double F pairing. If one letter of the alphabet was enough to convey the same properties, sound and meaning-wise, this also begs the question, why are 2 sounds needed to do the job of one? The square on the far right of the slide illustrates a similar yet equally meaningful problem. All 4 words at each corner of the square contain the letter U inside, but all 4 vowels are pronounced differently. Ruse has a different pronunciation from put, which is pronounced differently from dispute, and all 3 are pronounced differently from bus. Imagine, if you will, a non-native speaker who is trying to learn English. If given all 4 of these words without having learned them before, how would you suppose that the speaker pronounced each of the words in this square? Now, the issue of one symbol to sound correspondence has been painted clear already, but I want to turn your attention to the most infuriating function of the English language, called silent letters. If you take a look at the 3 words shown on screen, you might notice that each of these words have one letter that does not make an audible sound during production. Without getting into the specifics of how these letters lost acoustic representation, this is just another example of why English spelling conventions are in a dire need of update. My solution to the hodgepodge of features that is English orthography is to create a new alphabet capable of streamlining the spelling process from now into the foreseeable future. I call it the Ontarian alphabet, named after my home province of Ontario, Canada. And I do understand that this is only a hypothetical, since there is no guarantee that this will catch on, but this is just an ideal solution to a problem that I'm sure many before me have attempted to fix. Now, before we begin, I would like to introduce the sources that I will be using for reference to help ground my alphabet in reality and make sure that the output invested in the alphabet has practical use. First off is the official Wikipedia page of the English language, specifically the section about its phonology, which describes English system of distinctive relationships among the speech sounds that constitute the fundamental components of the language. While Wikipedia may not be 100% reliable, it is a good reference point that provides the most basic layout for my alphabet. To supplement this, I will also be using a standardized system called the International Phonetic Alphabet. This constantly maintained database provides insight into the phonology of all currently known languages, including English. Last, in order to check over some examples that I will be showing you all later on, I have scouted out an IPA to English translator. By matching the IPA symbols to its corresponding letter in my alphabet, I will be ensuring the examples that I provide are as accurate as they can be. As an overview, there are 24 consonants and 17 vowels in my alphabet, totaling 41 letters in all. This lengthy selection encompasses the sounds in the English language used for everyday life, which would allow for easy communication if adopted. This low level of entry aims to reduce the number of hours of instruction needed to become fluent in the English language and could also result in better literacy rates. Most of the letters of the Ontarian alphabet are borrowings from the Latin alphabet, and one-to-one copies at that, which has been done to help ease existing English speakers into a new medium. We first take a look at the consonants, which start off pretty self-explanatory to a native English speaker. B makes the B sound, as in bus. C makes the K or hard C K sound, as in cut. D makes the D sound, as in dust, and so on. As you can see, I've cut the letters J, K, Q, and X out. K's exclusion is very self-explanatory. Its role has been taken over by hard C, so there's no reason to include it. Second, even though K and X could fit right into my letter arrangement, these roles can be filled by other letters. X can be substituted with a pairing of IBA symbols K and S, while Q can be replaced by a combination of K, Y, and an U vowel, which will be introduced later. It's time to move on to the letters introduced in this alphabet. Representing the TH digraph in think is the uppercase semi-stroke T, paired with F, brought in from the Icelandic alphabet. On the other hand, T as in though is represented by the Old English letter thorn. The IPA makes this distinction between a hard and soft TH because the two are contrastive in English, meaning that one sound changed for another in the same environment changes the word's meaning, which is most notable in thigh versus thy or teeth versus teeth. Next we have the Cyrillic le and nye filling in for the ch digraph in English. Then we have the Insular G of the medieval Insular script of Great Britain and Ireland, replacing J and the DG digraph as in judge. Then there are two similar sounding consonants, sh and sh, the former of which is covered by the sh digraph. The latter is harder to find a representative for, but closely resembles the su as in treasure or the si combo as in vision. In any case, these sounds are now represented by the Komi Nje of the Molotov alphabet and the edge of the last Latin alphabet. The last of the consonant sounds is quite a peculiar one, that being the engma of the IPA. This consonant is not allowed to start a word in English, and so it only fits to give it a singular lowercase form. Now, before we continue, let's take a little detour into the linguistic phenomenon known as a diphthong. According to IPA standards, vowel sounds are speech sounds produced with a relatively open configuration of the vocal tract, vocal cord vibration, and no audible friction. The vowels can be categorized into two categories: monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs contain only one uninterrupted vowel sound. For example, e, while diphthongs are vowel unit comprised of the starting quality of one vowel combined with the ending quality of another. For example, ow. In relation to the English alphabet, 3 of the 5 vowels, A, I, and O, are classified as diphthongs. U is not, under the technicality that it has part consonant sound, y. With that exposition out of the way, let's begin with the vowel chart. The Ontarian vowel system has a 3-accent system. Mode 1, represented by a normal vowel. Mode 2, represented by grave accent. And Mode 3, represented by acute accent. Not all vowels are assigned 3 modes, and some, as we will see later on, only have mode 1. First off is the A vowel, with 3 modes. A, Note that mode 2 is not in standard English, but is included here in order to be able to record everyday expressions such as achoo. The A vowel is followed by the E vowel, E, According to the wiki on English phonology, E vowel sounds preceding an R consonant, for example, dirt or internal, are represented with E mode 3, which is not normally present in standard English variety used for the Ontarian alphabet, but can be present in other varieties, and so is still included. Unlike the previous vowels, I has only two modes, E and I. O and U pick back up again with three modes each, starting with O. O. Aw. Aw. Note again that mode 3O, like A and E, is not normally found in the standard English variety, which the Ontarian alphabet is based on, except in environments preceding R. Finally, we have U. Ooh. There are three additional individual vowels represented by letters outside of the Latin alphabet. Ow, oi, and an unstressed vowel, the latter of which occurs when a vowel is in a syllable that is not emphasized in a word when spoken aloud. Now that we have gone over everything that this alphabet has to offer in its current iteration, as revisions may be necessary, I have provided you some example rewrites of common words, as well as a sample paragraph to test your knowledge on what we have learned. Please take a moment to pause the video and see if you understand what has been written. While all this orthographical reform and development done in this video sounds great and all, any quality academic venture would not be complete without admitting some faults made while conducting research. It is only through self-introspection and the ability to accept valid criticism that human beings can truly change for the better. The first issue we're tackling is semanticity, or the interpretation of meaning from communication. Interunitary punctuation of English orthography, such as apostrophes and em dashes, must be kept to avoid confusion. For instance, the removal of apostrophes from in-between words may confuse those learning English with the Ontarian alphabet by causing them to easily mix up nouns and verbs, since they now appear to end with -d. Also, words with completely different meanings are now spelled the same, like write the action of etching in paper versus write the direction. English orthography using the Latin alphabet previously had this ability to represent some homophones differently, but now this is now possible with the Ontarian alphabet. Equally as important is the issue of the scope of coverage of the Ontarian alphabet. Contrary to its origin in Canada, aligns more closely with the standard American English pronunciation. Therefore, issues such as Canadian raising and difference in vowel or consonant qualities across the outside varieties of English, such as British English or Nigerian English, are too complex to deal with and have been largely left untouched. Moreover, marginal or non-contrastive sounds of the English language, such as at the beginning of uh-oh and the French trill, are not included. If any of you are interested, it's highly recommended that you explore these problems yourself. So, given these glaring oversights, what is the best way to move forward? I believe that the best way to make do with the current version of this alphabet is to jointly use Latin alphabet alongside the Antarian alphabet, similar to how Japanese juggles katakana, hiragana, and kanji. In order not to be confused with whether one is writing in the Antarian alphabet or the Latin alphabet, since Ontarian mostly borrows from Latin, all English words must be written in curly brackets. Alternatively, other languages using the Latin alphabet, such as German or Dutch, can be written in vertical bar brackets. Now, we have reached the end of my presentation. Armed with all the tools contained within this lecture, it's time to go out into the world and change our language for the better, where each letter has one-to-one representation with sounds possible in the English language. Thank you for listening.